What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I am your host, the big man on campus. Another week, another dollar here on the show. We are presented by PicksWise and powered by FanDuel here every day at noon Eastern, and we are getting into it. Game 2 starting tonight in the NBA playoffs. Got a couple more games to go over. We had a 4-pack yesterday. Got a long week of NBA playoffs. A lot to do. Let's get into it. We are joined by one of our favorite guests. It's the great Blackjack Fletcher. Blackjack, what's happening? Nice hat.
One of your favorite guests.
Well, my
no one you have on the show better than me, brother.
My favorite.
No one.
My favorite guest. You see him around. He's doing his thing. He's usually our special guest here on the show, Monday, Wednesdays. It's good to see Blackjack. Like that hat, Blackjack. What's that, a Stetson? Like that?
No, this is my summer straw. You know, keeps me light. It's breathable during the summer. So the Stetson comes out during the cooler months.
Very nice. Yeah, Blackjack, the big hat guy. Nice to see it. How's everything with you? Did you have a good weekend? What's been going on?
Yeah, brother. Can't complain. You know, we've got NHL playoffs going on. We've got the NBA playoffs kicked off now. You know, we've got racing with horse racing at tracks all over the country, and a couple opening up in Canada, although not Woodbine. Don't know what you're doing up there in Ontario, but I'm excited. We've got a lot of action. This is always one of those good times of year in the sports calendar when there's just a ton of stuff happening.
Baseball fans are getting very annoyed because you didn't mention baseball at all.
Oh, I'm sorry for the 2 baseball fans that are in here.
All right, let's get into it here. We are here every day at noon, so we talk basketball. We'll hit every game. We got 2 games tonight. We'll hit them both from a side total perspective. We'll hit some props as well. I had a bang-up day yesterday. Very happy with what we saw yesterday. We'll recap those in just a second. A little bit of a gloomy day around these parts. Let's see if we can't inject some winners back into the crowd here. As always, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We continue to add to the subscriber base. We are here through the end of the NBA playoffs talking NBA. So let's get into what we saw yesterday, Blackjack Fletcher. Game 1, right out of the gate, Sixers take care of the Wizards. Kept them at arm's length really the whole time. Never really got up by 15 or 20 or 25, but kept them at arm's length. They were never much of a threat. It seemed like at one point the Sixers were up 20, if they were only up 5. Joel Embiid had all sorts of foul trouble, but Tobias Harris was terrific. That crowd, I think, really helped the Sixers. It's nice to see crowds back, and it's nice that it's helping teams out. Man. I had the over in this game. It found its way over, which I was happy about. But a pretty nice victory for the Sixers. However, they didn't cover. And I'll tell you what, if you had the Sixers at 7.5, which I believe our friend Spread Astaire did, you got to send Ben Simmons, say it, if you ever see him, tell him it cost you the cover, because he had, I think 6 or 7 free throw misses. Ugly.
Dude, I still don't understand in this day and age how highly, supremely talented athletes can be so bad at free throw shooting. Yeah. I just don't understand it. Yes, I thought the Sixers were impressive in that they took this thing basically gate to wire and it was never stressful. I mean, you never really were worried Washington was going to win that game. If you bet the Sixers, sure, it was a stressful game. But yeah, I was impressed by Philly. They did what I thought they would do.
Yeah, and I think this is what the series is going to look like. Game 2 on Wednesday. Pat Croce will ring the bell. Do you know who Pat Croce is, Boxer?
Didn't he used to own the team?
Yes, he was part of the ownership. He was around during the
Iverson years.
Yes, he was and Pat was great because he did all sorts of really interesting things. Like when the Sixers made the finals, he walked up one of the bridges in the city and put a sign up. He's an interesting guy. He was a great owner too. He was really, really interesting, fun guy. I've said before, when I was younger, when we had we have a shore house in Ocean City, New Jersey, I used to see him all the time. Always super nice guy, just a great guy. He's gonna, I'm sure, get the group riled up down at the Wells Fargo Center. So, game 2 on Wednesday. Suns and Lakers. How about the Suns yesterday? This was an impressive victory. for that group. I said yesterday I didn't have much in the game, but what I wanted to see was the Suns put a good defensive performance together, and my did they ever. Charles Barkley also, Blackjack, came out after the game, said that no one is scared no one is scared of the Lakers now. Do you agree with that?
No. I think everyone is scared of the Lakers. They have 2 of the 5 best players in the NBA on their roster. What are we talking about? Yes, they're scared of the Lakers. They're the reigning, defending champions. Yes, you're scared of the Lakers.
They looked very poor yesterday, though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Lakers, I think, are going to have days like that. It's easy to forget that this is LeBron's, 5th game back off of an extended absence. I mean, Anthony Davis was banged up after he returned. I think it's going to take them some time. I don't think things are going to come super easy to the Lakers. Also, with the draw they have, I mean, you're playing the Suns, who are a really good team. Now, the concern I have with the Suns is you're already talking about Chris Paul being banged up with a shoulder problem. And it's like, this is game 1 of the postseason. And this is how that Rockets team got derailed with him and Harden, was Chris Paul got hurt. And if Chris Paul's not playing, this Suns team is very different.
Sure. He obviously is, whether he's healthy is going to be really dictating this series. So
yeah.
Definitely huge. Currently, the Suns are still a dog to win this series, wildly enough. So
that's crazy.
That could shed some light. I mean, right now you can get the Suns at 104. So if you have some good injury news, or you're connected or something, you might want to get down on that. You have a 1-game advantage right now. You have another home game. So, again, if you can get some good info with Paul, you might be on your the uptick with that one. By the way, also, Charles anchored the same sentiment and says that the NBA doesn't have the, quote, balls to suspend LeBron James. Totally agree. As usual, the NBA...
I don't understand that at all.
Well, what do you mean you don't understand? He's not LeBron James. He can do whatever he wants. The NBA has no balls when it comes to LeBron, and Adam Silver knows that. Adam Silver has no interest in ever doing anything to bother LeBron. A couple other thoughts on yesterday's card, Mr. Blackjack. We had the great game up in MSG. And by the way, Blackjack, no one told us this. This is a surprise to everyone, but fans are back in arenas. I don't know if anyone noticed that yesterday by the billions of tweets about it. We get it, okay? Fans are back. Give it a freaking.
I'm going to disagree with you here, because I did not know that Madison Square Garden was going to be full. I mean, I didn't expect that. Dude, they were having like 1,900 fans for these games. It was like, now all of a sudden the place was literally packed.
By the way, somebody said this. I think it was Chris Webber or one of Reggie Miller. He said, "Can you explain why, if the sellout is 18,000, I think the Knicks can only have 15,000? Like, why? Like, what's the reason for that? Everyone is checked if they're vaccinated or coronavirus negative. Like, why are we still doing?
I don't know. Maybe they got rid of like the standing room seats or something. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
But still,
either way, listen, that was an unbelievable game. Mm-hmm. There were times during that game when I'm sitting here just watching the game and saying to myself, like, did Derrick Rose turn the clock back 10 years? Like, I mean, I don't know how he's. It's really nice to watch, right? Because he's lost so many years of what could have been a Hall of Fame career due to injury that it was really nice to see him play well in a playoff game. A great game start to finish. I know you hate the Knicks and the Knicks fans.
I don't hate them. I just think
you hate Knicks fans. But I will say this. There's no building more electric than Madison Square Garden when it's right. When that building is right and the Knicks are playing a close playoff game in the fourth quarter, there's no building close.
It's a shame they couldn't win the game. I mean, it's so sad.
Let's just talk for 1 second about that final possession. Oh. Every player on the court knows Trae Young is taking this shot, and you're going to just put Frank Ntilikina on an island with him and say, you're the guy, and he put Ntilikina on skates.
I mean, not for nothing either. The last play of the game was pathetic as well.
It was an awful pass to Randall. It was an awful pass to Randall.
What the hell was that? I mean, not for nothing, Blackjack. Last night, if that's what the series is going to be, the Knicks are going to have a lot of issues because Julius Randle was taken out of the game.
Yeah.
Look, you're not going to get 27 every night from Alec Burks, for God's sake.
No, you're not. But I also don't think that Randall's going to be limited like that. Listen. We talked about this series last week. I think it's a long series. I think that the Hawks probably are better suited against the Knicks just because of what Trae Young can do in the backcourt. But can we just say one thing here, apropos of nothing, but also everything? What is the deal with Trae Young's hair?
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, it's listen, people will knock me for my hair. I obviously
like I don't understand what's going on with his hair.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've learned over the years to not comment on people's hair just because ultimately it's his decision. It's like the eyebrow thing with Anthony Davis. I don't get it, but it's his thing. I wear a blowout, so I'm not going to comment on people's hair. It's what I like. A lot of people don't think, why are you still rocking a haircut from 2003? It's because what looks good on me generally. Yeah, I don't. It's not something I would wear. I don't know what's going on with it. It's definitely weird for sure. I wondered that with him back when he was at Oklahoma. It was kind of odd. I couldn't agree with you more. The kid's terrific though. And by the way, I know he had that big shot at the end, which just a lack of. For a team that's very good defensively, I couldn't agree with you more. You can't leave him like that. But that shot by Bogdanović was gigantic. I mean, that was incredible. In the corner there, that was a huge shot. I mean, they were down 3 at that point. Mm-hmm. You miss that game's over. So, really impressive. But again, all kidding aside, it was very nice to see some fans and people happy and hype. It was loud in there for sure.
And I mean, I think we could say it was the best game we've seen, certainly yesterday.
Oh, for sure. Another place that was rocking was out in Utah. The Jazz hosted a playoff game. They had the Grizzlies, and it's interesting news. Weirdly enough, Mike Conley played, but Donovan Mitchell didn't, which was odd. Early in the day, it was thought that Donovan Mitchell would play and Conley wouldn't play.
Yeah.
They flip-flopped it. But it was really a tale of the first half, weirdly enough. Jazz jump out. They finished the first quarter, I believe, on a 12-0 run to take a 7-point lead, and you're thinking, danger time for the Grizzlies. They're slowed up. They played a ton of games recently. They traveled. What a second quarter for Memphis. They come out 32-19 and go into the half with the lead, and they don't look back. I'm telling you, man, this Grizzly team is tough. I didn't understand this number last night. I knew the Jazz had the advantage with the travel and stuff that Memphis did. But, if you're Taylor Jenkins, all you need to do with a young team is put up on the board. You're a double-digit dog, basically, in this game. They don't think you can even hang with this team without their best player. Terrific stuff yesterday. Memphis is a tough team. Shout out to John Morant.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everything you just said is absolutely right. Bottom line for me, though, is this Utah Jazz team is simply not even close to the same team without Donovan Mitchell. I mean, they need that guy. They need the guy who can get a bucket when the rest of them are cold. That's Mitchell. I hate that Mitchell and Conley missed the last, 3 weeks leading up to the playoffs. I hate that it ruined what this team's chemistry was, and I think they could be in some danger here. This Grizzlies team is kind of relentless, and it's going to be a problem for Utah, even if they do manage to win this series. I think that the Jazz are more vulnerable than I've seen them all year.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this on whether it's the Hawks or whether it's the Jazz or whoever. When you lose players, particularly on those two teams, because when you lose a player like Young or Mitchell, there are guys on those teams that have to play more, and they have lineups, particularly with let's say a Gobert or a Royce O'Neal, they're net negatives offensively. So when you're losing Mitchell, you not only lose them, but you lose those players as well, because Mitchell makes those guys better players, and they don't give you much of anything to begin with. So, yeah, this team's not good without Mitchell, and they have no shot if he doesn't play. I want to shout out, though, Dylan Brooks, who showed out for all the second-round picks. For anyone that tells you second-round picks don't mean anything, has no idea what they're talking about, they don't know ugats about basketball. Dylan Brooks has turned into a second option, and yesterday was the first option. He's turned into an elite defender in this league. Shout out Dylan Brooks. He was the 45th pick in the draft. killed it yesterday. That team is built because they know how to draft correctly. It's that simple. And they've done a nice job. Shout out to Taylor Jenkins and that organization for building that team. You're seeing the Hawks, you're seeing the Grizzlies really become teams to talk about because of how they draft. They don't go out and really get high-level free agents.
No.
They just draft and hopefully do
Are
a nice job.
we at a point where we can start to have the conversation? Is Ja Morant going to wind up being better than Zion Williamson?
We said it yesterday. I said I couldn't agree more. Spread Astaire and I said that we much would prefer Morant over Zion. Zion's one of the most overrated players coming into the league in the history of this league. It's that simple. He's on a bad team that's never going to win anything. It's that simple.
I don't really disagree, so.
And I think, again, we can talk about this, his physical issue, his weight will be an issue. He's going to have to get that in check. He's got more injuries than a lot of people. I like Morant a ton. I think he's turning into one of the great players in this league, and it's going to happen quicker than I think even we thought maybe would think. All right, let's get into today's action. We've got two games and two really interesting games, one in the East, one in the West. I like the two-game card. I like, obviously we're not going to be day games here. Get some dinner, you focus in.
That's it.
You got Heat Bucks, and then late night, you get a good, efficient game on the West Coast. And I got two plays for these games. I like both these games, to be honest. Shout out to everybody checking into the show, whether you're watching live or you're listening after the fact. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. All right, Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks, Game 2. Obviously, Milwaukee got a 109-107 win and went to overtime. Heat did cover. Bucks today laying 4.5. Some 5s pop up as well. If you want the 4.5, you're going to have to lay a little juice at 115. Total is 222 right now. Look, I thought Game 1 was fascinating. When you look at what Miami was able to do, they stayed in the game for one reason. They shot 53s and made 20 of them. Mm-hmm. Okay, you look at Milwaukee, Blackjack, on the other hand, they were 5 for 31 from 3.
16%.
Right. So when you look at Miami, okay, they made 45 more points from the three-point line than the Bucks did and still lost.
Uh-huh.
And you know why they lost? 2 reasons. They couldn't hit water in a boat inside the three-point line. Jimmy Butler was lost. Looks like he could. He's going to have issues if that's how he's going to play because they seem to really key in on him. Bam Adebayo was poor. They were 8 for 37 from the field, those two. They got very little out of Ariza. Listen, Ariza can't play 38 minutes. I hate to tell you.
No.
You need Tyler Hero in there. Tyler Hero actually gave you a little bit offensively. It's a shame that Tyler Hero only plays 19 minutes, but that's where you are with him, and you really have to pick your poison. I don't think the Bucks go 20 for 33 from the line. They own the glass. I thought they were the better team overall.
We're on the same page here.
I was very happy, and I was lucky, I thought, to get away with a Miami cover there. I thought it could have got ugly in the overtime period when Duncan Robinson got that flagrant foul. I don't think the Bucks go 5 for 31 from 3. I don't think Miami goes 20 for 50 from 3. And I don't think the Bucks miss 13 free throws. I think they have a blueprint to beat Miami, and I think it'll be close, but I think Milwaukee ultimately pull away. I'll take a little bit better line here. I'll lay 4.5 at Milwaukee. I think they go up 2-0 and win this game by 6+.
I'm totally with you. I'm on Milwaukee minus the 4.5 for exactly what you just said. The Bucks aren't shooting 16% from 3 again. They're not doing. It's not going to happen. Okay, I don't think they're going to shoot 66% from the free throw line again. I think what we saw was Miami's best punch, and they still couldn't get the win.
Good point.
I would not shock me if this is a sweep. I don't know that Miami has a better game in them. I just don't. I mean, as you said, they 45 more points from the three-point line than you did? Like, what are we talking about? And you still couldn't win the game. I don't know that Miami can play a better game right now. I just don't. I think the Bucks are the way to go here. Wouldn't stun me if this was a double-digit win for Milwaukee.
Yeah, and the issue that you have, Pokey Lewis says the Heat will be shooting better this game. I'm not so sure. I mean, this is a team that was 25th in the NBA in points per game. I thought they were what they were offensively.
And here's the trade-off, though. He may be right that their 2-point percentage goes up, but it's going to be at the expense of the 3-point percentage, which is not sustainable at that number, which means it's a net negative. So,
exactly.
Yeah, their percentage may go up, but the points are going to drop.
We also have to point out the Miami Heat, when you are a team that struggled to shoot, right, and struggle to make shots and score points, one thing you can really neutralize yourself with is rebounding. The Miami Heat are dead last in the NBA in total rebounds per game. They're never going to win the rebound battle. I thought Bam Adebayo looked very tentative against a big team. I thought Lopez played well. Obviously, Giannis didn't play his high level, but he played well enough. Middleton really carried them. I think they get better. Look, they're a way better team with Drew Holiday as opposed to Eric Bledsoe. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I just think the two big guns, whether it's Adebayo or Butler, I thought they had a lot of trouble against the length that Milwaukee threw out there. This year, I don't think you get 25 at a Dragic. I don't think you get, Duncan Robinson. He's a great shooter, but is he enough to propel you to victory here? Tyler Hero's, as we said, been a net negative. And Ariza, it seems like he's going to play 35-ish minutes. So all of that leads to me to say, I'll gladly side with the Bucks here. Look, Miami's going to throw the kitchen sink. They really can't go down 2-0. You'd really love to get a win here under your belt as you head back to South Beach. But I just don't see it. And I think I agree with you. I think the Bucks kind of keep them at arm's length like the Sixers did the Wizards, and that's kind of how the series shakes out.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I see it going. Same kind of dynamic.
Hunter says Tyler Hero has to play more minutes. I agree with you. But I think the problem with Tyler Hero is, what do you want? Are you willing to trade? Because the Heat, Eric Spoelstra is a defensive guy. When you play Hero, you have to give up defensive prowess that Ariza could give you. But Ariza can't necessarily give you what he used to offensively.
You're right. I think at this point I would side with Hunter that you have to just you've got to get some points. You've got to get some offense generated from somewhere. And Hero, when he's on, can be instant offense. Trevor Ariza, I understand the guy defends, but isn't that what Jimmy Butler's there for? Is that why you've got Jimmy Butler to defend Giannis here?
Yeah. And again, for the people that want to say, well, the Heat can shoot better, yeah, they can. I don't think Adebayo and Butler go 8 for 37 from the field, but I don't know if it'll be that much better. I thought the Bucks did a very good job defensively on them, and I was impressed with how good the Bucks were defensively. It seems like when the rubber meets the road, this team has no issues defending, and a lot of the regular seasons is just they just didn't give a hell about it. No. But yeah, I'm gonna back the Bucks here. I don't want to go higher than 4.5, but I think this is a pretty solid number here. And it seems as if Blackjack Fletcher agrees. If you have a comment or question, you're welcome to jump into the chat. Ask whatever. Doesn't matter. We'll get to those at the end. Let's go through the next game here. Portland at Denver. Denver's laying 2, total 226.5. I've said one of two things about this series, Blackjack. One of which, it would not surprise me if the Denver Nuggets get swept. I think they have very little shot to beat Portland, and I mean that. I just don't know where the offense comes from outside of Porter and Jokic. And let's say those guys score 70 combined. That's not enough to beat the Portland Trailblazers. It just isn't. Denver has very little outside of those two. You're going to need Aaron Gordon to really go off. And the issue you have here for Denver is this is where the cracks develop with this group. They're not good enough defensively. They don't get enough stops. And the playoffs have been kind of a black eye for them. They can't get enough stops. And again, you cannot go to someone else. Michael Porter is who you have now. And while he gives you a ton offensively, he gives you absolutely nothing defensively. He's one of the worst defenders in the league. You don't have Will Barton. You don't have Gary Harris. You don't have Jamal Murray. You have none of those guys you can go to defensively to get a stop. Jokic, I wouldn't say that he leads the pack defensively either. But one thing you get from both those is scoring. And I've also said, Blackjack, that if you have totals in the 220s in this series, I will be betting the over. I took it the other night, and I'm going to take it tonight. I don't understand these totals in these games. Portland's going to get to 120. I think the Nuggets obviously play a bit better. I don't think Michael Porter's 1 for 10 from 3. They maybe get a little bit more. And they still got the 132 the other night, even in a poor fourth quarter offensively. I'm going to go over. I think Denver, they'll fight here. I think Jokic can maybe put them on his back, but I think they're going to have a lot of trouble. They just don't, I think, have enough bodies, man.
I'm going to ride with the Nuggets here. I think that I agree with you that I like Portland to win this series. I think this is a longer series, though. I don't think this is a sweep or even 5.
Blackjack, answer the question. How do they score outside of Jokic and Porter? Because
first of all, I think you are sleeping a little bit on Aaron Gordon. Like, I think Aaron Gordon is a quality player.
So we'll throw him in there. Let's say they score 65 combined and he scores 15. That's 80 points. Who's scoring the other 30?
I mean, Jeff, let's be honest, though. The Blazers, you're talking about this Blazers team like they've got an enormous amount of depth. Like, their depth isn't great either. And let's also realize
they're really good offensively.
They play no defense. So I agree with you that, like, Austin Rivers and Campazzo and Morris and Howard and Green are not the greatest bunch of secondary players, but the Portland defense is going to make them better than they are.
Right, and that's true. And I hope you're right because I'm taking the over tonight.
I think the over is absolutely the right side here on the total. I think if you're playing the total, it's the over. My whole thing is this. For all that I have said about Jokic on this show, I think Jokic is too good of a player to let this just slip away against the team that plays no defense. I think that Michael Porter Jr. is offensively incredible. Again, you're right. He plays no defense. He's a matador. But I think that there's too much talent on this Denver team. They've been through this too many times to just go down without a fight. I can't see it. I'd be surprised if it happened. I took the Nuggets minus 1.5 tonight. We'll see how it goes. For me, this is kind of a tipping point in this series. If Portland wins this game, you're probably right. It's lights out. If Denver wins, I think we're looking at a longer series. But I think this is a really important game, and I think Denver knows it.
When is the MVP announced?
Isn't it the conference finals?
Let me ask you a question. They have the finalists, right? So it's Jokic, it's Joel Embiid, and who's the other one?
Steph.
Is it Steph Curry? Yeah. Okay, Steph's not winning, okay? If Jokic gets swept and Embiid's in the conference finals, how do you not give it to Embiid?
Well, I think the voting is done before the playoffs start.
Oh, is it?
It's a regular season award.
Yeah, I thought you might have been right on that. But let me ask you, let's say it wasn't, and let's say they voted like that day. You'd have to give it to Embiid, right? How do you give it to Jokic?
Listen,
I've said this bounce in the first round.
I've said this all year long. I thought Embiid deserves the award. And it's nothing about Jokic or not liking him. I thought Embiid had an unbelievable season.
Yeah, I mean they're both very valuable, obviously, and Jokic will, is definitely a lock to win because he has, played so many games and he's been so valuable. We talking about sports says, "What's up? Appreciate the content. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining us." So, yeah, you're going to go Denver. You're going to take a stand with the Nuggets here. Are you going to play the 2 or are you going to play the money line? Are you worried about a close game? Maybe you just want to
lay the 1.5 and roll with it.
Fair enough. I'm going to just go over 226.5. As I said, I'm going to keep sticking with overs with these two teams. I'll gladly take the efficiency. I don't think either team is very good defensively either. You're not going to get pace with Denver, but Portland will push it a little bit. Portland's the best three-point shooting team in the NBA, and I don't think MPJ. They went Blackjack. Another thing to help your cause, they're not going to shoot 11 for 36 from 3, Denver. They'll be better, which will help. I will also throw this out, and I'd urge you to go back to the bubble last year. Denver, okay, in the first quarter, their overs seem to hit every single game. It seems like every game is 35-31 in the first quarter. So keep that idea out there. We've only seen one playoff game, but in game 1, the first quarter went over. Last year in the bubble, as I said, the first quarters were going over for Denver. Tonight it's only 58.5. Don't be surprised if that one finds its way over. To list totals in first quarters under 60 is really rich by the book. That's wild possibly to do here. Jeff Hanna saying, finally catching a live show. Like the first half over. Well, there you go. definitely lends itself. Maybe you just go first quarter here, Jeff. Denver's going to come out having to be on fire. We always know Portland's going to give you something. I'll continue to, though, bet overs in this series in the 220s. All right. Blackjack going to go with Denver, last stand. It got to be a last stand. You can't go down two.
It is.
Two
It is.
nil going to Portland. All right. Let's ask ourselves. By the way, have you been watching any of this Kwame Brown stuff?
No. I didn't watch Kwame Brown when he played. I'm sure as hell not watching him now.
Do you know what's going on with him?
No. I mean, I've seen he's got something up on YouTube or whatever, but like.
Yeah, so basically he was called out by like another podcast, and Kwame Brown wasn't doing anything. He just started his own channel. And look, by the way, I know Kwame Brown like understands that when he does videos now, a lot of people will watch them. And I guess if he's trying to build up a content business, that makes sense. But Kwame needs to relax a little bit with the videos. Every time I go on YouTube, there's a new video from Kwame Brown. It's like, are you going to call the whole NBA out, bro? Like,
what is he talking about?
It's just literally him. Like, if anyone talks about him in any way, he just goes on this like crusade to like destroy them. So like,
well, he stinks. He's a bust. He's one of the most notorious.
And that's what everyone says. And
in
like,
NBA history, I mean, he's
so
awful.
Like, the other day, Charlemagne the God was talking about him, and I thought Charlemagne didn't really say anything that bad about him. Like, he was like, "Yeah, I'm from the same area as him, and like, I know he comes from a big family and all that stuff." And Kwame goes on this tirade about how Stephen A. Smith is this and that. It's like every time I go on YouTube, it's a different video from Kwame. I might have to unsubscribe. Like, I thought it was funny initially, but I don't know. I mean, I guess if he's trying to build content up, do your thing. You're relevant.
I guess.
But yeah. Also, did you catch any of the PGA yesterday? You're not a golf guy, are you?
I hate golf, and you know I hate golf.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But I will say that I am happy for Phil Mickelson getting that win, becoming the oldest major champion. Phil Mickelson, big-time gambler.
By the way, I hate Phil Mickelson. You know that?
Why?
He's a scumbag. Total scumbag.
Why?
You know what? You know why I hate Phil Mickelson? I'm going to tell you why. And this relates to our mob podcast. I'm going to tell you why. Surprisingly enough.
Is he a rat?
I wouldn't call him a rat, but he...
Why? What happened?
Did some really shady crap. All right, so for anyone that doesn't know, Phil is a big gambler.
Yeah.
Big gambler. Degenerate, frankly.
That's why I like him.
He is friends with Billy Walters, who is arguably the biggest gambler in the history of Las Vegas, big-time sports bettor. People would literally go through Billy's trash. That's how good he was. He's made millions of dollars gambling. So a few years ago, Billy and Phil were involved with the stock market. Billy's been on record as saying if he didn't play the stock market, he'd be a billionaire. Him and Phil got some insider info on this company called Dean Foods. And they both got insider information. They both made money off it. The Feds jammed Billy up for insider trading because he's a gambler.
There has to be more to that, though, because insider trading is not a crime. Insider trading is a civil offense.
Okay. So they jam him up. And I'm sure it had to do with something else. But basically they went to Phil and said, hey, listen, Phil, pay the money back and we won't do anything about it. They didn't give the same care to Billy Walters. And they also said to Phil, Billy basically asked Phil, hey, look, can you speak on my behalf at my trial? It'll probably go a really long way, and I'll probably avoid jail time. Now, again, this is a friend, a good friend to Billy Walters. You know what Phil said? I don't know him. I don't know him. I'm not speaking on his behalf. Come on, man. That's a whack move. And that's a friend thing you just don't do. Okay? It's not something I would ever co-sign. That's your friend. You did the dirt with him. It's not a rat move, obviously, but it's still a whack move.
Yeah, it is. That's fair.
I lost a lot of respect for Phil. He's a great golfer, for sure. But that's a whack move.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So, again, do you look at Phil a little differently now?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people look at him a certain way. And again, most people don't care about that kind of stuff. I do. I'm a stand-up guy. I'm going to stand up for my friends. That's a whack move. Look, if they jam you up on something and I'm involved and I can help you. You know why I love Bobby Shmurda? The rapper?
Tell me.
Bobby Shmurda took more time so his friend would get less time. They were in the same stuff. He took more time so that guy wouldn't get a big-time sentence. That's stand-up right there. That's what you do.
Yeah,
whack.
I don't know if I would take more time, but
That's whack by Phil to do that, though.
yeah, it's not great.
So that's my issue with Phil Mickelson. So, if you don't agree, fair enough. He's a great golfer, but that's my thought on Phil.
I hate golf, so I really
Yes,
don't.
I know you do. I know you do. All right, so that's that for the show. Always fun. I love doing shows at Blackjack because we can get into like doing conversations. By the way, Blackjack, you're betting a lot of hockey. There's a big time card tonight.
All over it.
Weirdly enough, I've gotten into watching just some of this hockey because now I'm working out inside in my apartment has a gym, and I'm always the only one in there, and there's a TV. And when I'm on the treadmill, I there's always hockey on like Saturday, Sunday afternoons, and I'm watching a little bit of it. Do you have any thoughts on a play or two tonight?
Oh yeah, I'm all over. I love this card tonight. Normally, I've been playing 1 or 2 games. I've got 4 plays tonight. I like the Islanders tonight on the money line. I like the way they've kind of fixed their goaltending problems.
That Russian guy, right?
Yeah, I like the Maple Leafs on the puck line. I think that game 1 was kind of a fluke, and now they bounced back with a big win in game 2. I expect them to do the same thing. Montreal's the worst team in the playoffs, bar none. And then 2 closeout games. I think the Lightning and the Jets both close out their series. 2 veteran teams. These are 2 teams that have been in the playoffs and had success with their cores for several years. They know the importance of not letting an opponent off the mat. And I think that when you look at Winnipeg, the loss last night for Edmonton was the soul crusher. I mean, you have a 3-goal lead with 9 minutes to go. You give up 2 goals in 16 seconds, wind up losing in overtime. You're not bouncing back from that, especially with no time off. Next day, Edmonton's done. And Florida can't find a goalie. They're starting a guy who was playing in college a couple of months ago tonight. I mean, I think Tampa lights up the Panthers.
Maybe a first period over, 1.5.
Could be. I mean, I just think you're looking at 2 closeouts tonight.
While we're on the subject of other sports, I saw someone ask me earlier about John Means tonight against Minnesota.
I'm on him first 5.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going with it. I'm done with backing Baltimore full game. I didn't.
I don't bet
game.
bullpens, Jeff. I don't bet bullpens. No. Give me starters.
Listen,
I don't trust any bullpen in baseball.
And I will say this, for his first 4 or 5 starts, I backed full game, and they actually pitched pretty well, and he was pitching deep. He had the no-hitter in the 1 game.
That's the thing, though. You need him to go deep, but I just don't trust the bullpen.
Right, against the Mets, it screwed me because I backed full game, and they ended up blowing it. And then the last start, I backed first 5, and it came in. Yeah, I'm backing it tonight. Matt Shoemaker's been a mess for the Twins. And I know he has a good kind of ERA lifetime, but this is a Baltimore team that's young. I don't know if he's seen much of these kids. In fact, he hasn't. You look at this lineup, I mean, really outside of 1 or 2 guys, they haven't seen Matt Shoemaker, and he hasn't seen them.
Only concern is you got to keep your eye on the weather. It might rain in Minneapolis tonight.
That would be something to keep an eye on. Currently, though, on the money line, Baltimore is minus 118. So, if it's a push, you get your money back. I'll gladly be on that. Also, Michael Newton, random, saying Lenny Cook is a great basketball documentary. No, in fact, it's the best. I've made a case. I think it's the best sports documentary ever. It's an elite movie. Agreed. Very good. It's just shot incredibly. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Let's do our best bets and then get on out of here. Best bets for me tonight, I like the Milwaukee Bucks, minus 4.5 against the Miami Heat. I think the Heat are going to have a lot of issues in this series, and you would agree. I also like Denver and the Blazers over 226.5. I'll continue to back overs in the 220s with these two. What do you got, Blackjack?
Yeah, I'm on the Bucks minus 4.5, Nuggets minus 1.5.
As far as props tonight, I don't think you would do badly if you went maybe with a Giannis prop tonight. Miami's the worst rebounding team in the NBA. Portland's not very good either, so maybe some rebounding props tonight. Also, we have Blackjack here. Make sure you go check out The Sit Down, wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. Blackjack and I do a Mafia History podcast, and I've said it last night. I'm going to say it again. I have a ton of plans for this show. I think it could be a monster, especially with just some of the ideas I have and just with short videos and interviews and going to landmarks and things like that. Movie reviews. I have a cooking show idea. Like, I have so many ideas for this show, and I think it could be great. So if you enjoy mob history, you like mob movies, we just did a show on Jimmy Burke, who was the inspiration for Jimmy Conway in the movie Goodfellas. We talked about that movie, what was real, what wasn't. This week, we have a Blackjack. You and I did the show already. The Joe Messino show might be the best one we've done. Joe Messino is one of the most interesting mob figures in the history of the genre, and he has truly a fascinating story. Everything from treachery to power grabs to the Donnie Brasco situation, which was real, to just some sordid stuff that went on late in his life. Fascinating. We took John Gotti. We did Vincent Gigante. We did Nicky Scarfo. We did the Philadelphia Black Mafia. We did the Mafia Cops. Blackjack, we have so many great content, so much content to do as well going forward.
I agree. I think that this week is going to be an amazing show. People are going to really love this show. I'm with you. I think it's the best one we've done. And there's a lot coming down the pike, so stay tuned, man. But go follow us over at Sit Down 7 and stay tuned, man. We got a lot going on.
Yeah, if you ever want us to do something or someone that you maybe you live in can't, I also down the road I want to really get into some of the smaller cities. So like Nick Savello over in Kansas City. We mentioned Vegas with Benny Binion or Tony Spilatra, who comes from Chicago. Chicago probably has 7-10 people we can do. I want to do Mad Stam DeStefan. I want to do all these different guys. Family Secrets. We got Cleveland, Danny Green in Cleveland. There's so many subjects still to do. We got to do Carmine Persico coming up. I believe we're going to record that tonight. We got Greg Scarpa. We've got Lucky Luciano, Carlo Gambino. So many people to do. So many folks to get into. So make sure you go check out the Sit Down 7 on Twitter and check out the podcast. Lucky says, are you coming to Philly to catch some playoff games? Yes, I will be. I've just got to figure that out. We got Memorial Day this week. Actually, weirdly enough, I might be there Thursday at Philly Live, Lucky, so I'll get in touch with you. Blackjack, great stuff. Good to see you as always. We'll catch you later in the week. Thanks for coming on. Let us know on Twitter where we can find you and what you got going on.
Yeah, brother, at Blackjack Fletcher, FLTCHR, and, always doing a bunch of stuff over at Better Than Vegas, so make sure you check us out over there at betterthan.vegas, and, horse racing stuff, too. We got racing starting up at Assiniboia late night tonight up in Manitoba. I'm going to be betting the hell out of that tonight.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I would urge you, Better Than Vegas is a different type of channel, I think, than most. They basically just allow people to post videos of games that they're on.
That's it, gambling social media.
Fascinating way to connect folks talking about sports. So here's what I'll tell you to do, okay? If you enjoy sports betting, okay, and you like to hold the video like I do above your head and take a video of yourself, you can post to that website. So, and right. I'm sure if you contact Blackjack, maybe he'll even retweet you and get you on the front page. Like, I don't know. By the way, I went viral this weekend. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah, I had a Saturday message. By the way, people were commenting on the size of my hands. Listen, little guys are in. I hate to tell you. And I'll tell you this. As long as my, brajol is big, that's all that matters. Listen, if you can go out with 3 women, which I did this weekend, and I was the only guy, let me know. And I know big man paid for them. No, I'm just a charming guy, and that's why I got them to come out with me. They're longtime friends. Listen, little guys are in. Who wants a big tall guy? Nobody.
Wow. I don't even know what to say to any of this.
And you know what? These are my hands, and guess what? If you ever came and said that stuff to me, you would see these hands. I bet you wouldn't comment on it anymore.
Oh,
Thanks
boy.
for watching, everybody. I'm the big man on canvas. He's Blackjack Fletcher. We'll catch you all tomorrow. We're here 12 Eastern. Make sure you join us every day. Talking about the NBA card. Make sure you're here. We'll see you all later. Have a great Monday. Enjoy the games.